Thanks for joining us, Pauline. You'll be pleased to hear that tomorrow night we're going to get some more detail from Opposition Leader Peter Dutton, but they're certainly going to aim for a lower immigration rate into this country.
They are going to aim for it because they've been listening to the Australian people, but will it be low enough, Chris? Because it's going to take quite a reduction to address the housing crisis that we have and the cost of living. So we'll wait and see what their numbers are. Mine are $130,000 a year until we can get it down to a manageable rate. 130,000,
which historically is where it was for a long while. I will just put up the numbers now from last night's budget that put this into context, because the government had forecast for this year 260,000 and it ended up being 340,000. And you can see there on these budget figures that they're now forecasting 260,000 for next year. Now, that's just their forecast. If they went 235 on those numbers last year, so who knows what it would be next year, even though they're promising 260. You're essentially saying to halve the immigration rate if you're saying 130. It'd be interesting to see whether the coalition goes that far.
I don't think they will. That's not the figures that I've been hearing from the coalition. I think they'll have it around about the 200,000. But Chris, we've got to pull back from the high immigration that we've had over the years. It has had a real impact on housing and rental accommodation and our infrastructure. It's just it's unsustainable the way it's going. We can't keep going the way we're going. Pull it back until we can catch up and then review it in a few years to come.
I want to get your thoughts on Indigenous spending in just a moment, but first up on the tax cuts, have a look at what Peter Dutton said, the way he scoffed at the tax cuts today.
This Labor Party has racked up $1 trillion of debt. Wow. $1 trillion. And they're saying to Australians, be grateful, be thankful, because 70 cents a day is coming your way in 15 months' time.
Yeah, now is Peter Dutton right there to scoff at these tax cuts, or would you be of a mind just to bank them and think something's better than nothing?
Chris, they're minimal, but Peter Dutton won't be able to sell his message to the Australian people. They're looking for tax cuts, they're looking for relief, they're looking for cost of living relief. And the whole fact is, I wouldn't have gone with the tax cuts. That's going to cost the taxpayers another $17 billion to our bottom line. What would have been more effective is to bring out our fuel excise tax by cutting it by 26.5 cents a litre for a year. That would have actually assisted all Australians, not just those that are paying tax, but right from pensioners, people who aren't working. Not everyone pays taxes in the country, but fuel excise tax cut would have benefited most Australians. It would have brought down inflation. You would have actually brought down your cost of living, because that comes, from that is the farming sector, also the transport sector, and actually cheaper groceries. So that's how I would have handled it if I had $17 billion.
Just briefly, I want to get your thoughts on what you're promoting now when it comes to Indigenous spending. You're talking about, now we know you're opposed to the Voice Treaty and the like, and a lot of the additional spending, but you're saying get rid of the National Indigenous Australians Agency. That's effectively the Federal Department of Indigenous Australians. You'd get rid of that altogether, try and force any new government to get rid of it altogether? Why?
That comes under the NIAA, that comes under the Prime Minister's Cabinet, so that comes under his department, $4.5 billion a year. We've got over 3,000 Aboriginal corporations. Chris, what I'm aiming for and what I'm calling out for, which I have done for 30 years, is equality for all Australians. We're not saying leave Aboriginals not assisted, but everyone who needs assistance, regardless of race, colour, religion, should get that assistance based on a needs basis, not purely based on your race. And the fact is that there's no means tested, so anyone can put up their hand and say, I'm an Aboriginal, or people are coming in from South Sea Islands claiming Aboriginality to get jobs and benefits at the expense of the taxpayer. Enough is enough, and billions of dollars have gone into this Aboriginal industry. A complete audit needs to be done. People want accountability. The Australian people threw out the voice. They don't want the segregation, division within our nation, and either do I, and it has to come to an end.
Well, there was a time when you saying that would have created howls of outrage around the country, but you have a situation now where if there's a coalition government, the Indigenous Affairs Minister, Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price, who would also be in charge of cutting government spending, would tend to agree with your attitudes there. So it'll be a fascinating one to watch. Thanks for joining us, Pauline. I appreciate it. Pauline Hanson there, One Nation Leader.